Let me just say once again that Womble Carlisle has been really one of the most important sponsors we could have come across for MoDev DC. They've supported this whole vision since day one. We're now in our 4th year, and what you're seeing is a result of just consistency, the consistency of their support. And if you're an entrepreneur and you have any questions about how to get started and what direction you want to take, these are the guys that are going to listen to you, and they're going to give you real advice without ever signing you up for a program yet. They're going to give you just great, straight-up advice that you need. I needed it definitely when I started my businesses. So I want to invite up Carl Knoll and Dean Rutley. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Pete.
Thank you. Dean? Yes.
So where's the karaoke words going to come up? All right. Well, I guess our first panel, we're going to do an investor panel first, then we're going to do a entrepreneur panel, and then following that, Carl and I will give you the ins and outs of you get a term sheet, now what, and how you negotiate a term sheet, at least some of the things to think about, some of the buzzwords and some of the concepts that are important in negotiating a term sheet with a venture capitalist.
The answers you agree with everything we said.
There you go. So we'd like to invite up to the tables here Jennifer Daniels from CIT Gap Fund, Valerie Gatos of a private angel investor, also runs the Angel Venture Forum in DC here. That Womble Carlisle was one of the very first sponsors to help jump on board with that idea. And Jonathan Pirelli with VC Fortified.
Come on up.
Usually when the money comes forward, that's when everybody applauds. You know? We as lawyers, we like getting applause too, but it usually doesn't work that way.
And Carl and I, a couple things, ground rules here. Carl and I are going to alternate, just throwing a few basic questions that you probably all have in your mind right now. And Mr. Come on. I mean, yeah, really? He's picking on you. And then, but we would also like to make sure that you guys ask questions. I mean, these are 3 outstanding angel and venture capital players in the early and emerging space in particular. And you should take this opportunity to ask some questions. Try to keep your questions not specific minutia about your particular situation, but maybe questions that you think are important that all the people in the audience would benefit from getting an answer on. So with no further ado, could all 3 of you guys going down, starting with Jen first and ending up with the guy last. Please go ahead. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Isn't it great that we have 2 women on this panel putting money in the marketplace? Let's hear it for women power. All right. So if you guys could introduce yourselves and your organization and briefly describe your general investment profile, what the type of industry that you focus in or don't focus in, and the level of investment that you do, et cetera.
So I don't invest in mobile apps. Just kidding.
That was a short panel.
It wasn't it?
Everybody leaves.
Gen CIT Gap Funds. We're a seed and early stage venture fund for companies, tech, life science, and energy that are located in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We spend your taxpayer dollars on investing in small companies. We have about 62 portfolio companies across the Commonwealth. And right now we're on the pace of, it seems like we're closing one every week. And Dean did our first 6 deals apparently. So,
thank you.
Yay.
Representing
Let me.
the 99% who are trying to seek the money of the 1%.
Nice.
Well, 1% are you?
just ask this
They
question?
really are, right? And apparently I left these chairs here in 2006. The logo's on the back of them from CIT.
Hey, Jen, was Dean your data point on that?
He was. It may not be true. He is a lawyer.
5 in the first 6.
Valerie Gatos, an angel investor. I'm a member of the Lancaster Angel Network, that's Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I do some investing all throughout the Mid-Atlantic region, small investments with a large group of angel investors that look at everything across the board. We look at mobile apps, we look at actually a titanium processing company, just any opportunities that we look at. And I also started the Angel Forum here in this region, and that's, as I said, we will do both debt and equity. So,
Awesome. My name is Jonathan Pirelli. Glad to be here. Pete throws great events always, and apparently some attorneys sponsored. Fortify.vc, we're a venture fund. We started writing checks in May last year, and since then we have 3 brands. We have the Fort VC, which is a new accelerator in DC, and we have Distilled Intelligence, which is a pitch event that we threw in October. We'll throw another one this year in October in City. We like to invest in seed and early stage companies with products, with promising teams that know their space, huge market opportunities, and did I mention products? We like products. So like ideas and services aren't our thing. We try to, in our venture style deals, which we've done about a dozen of, some in conjunction with CIT and a lot of West Coast investors, we like to participate either with a board seat or as advisors. And then we have mentors, Min Nguyen from Plaxo. Let's give Min a little shout. There we go. One of our mentors at the Fort, where we basically cohabitate with companies. So we're not just incubating or accelerating, we're doing both, and we coexist with our companies every day. So, and we're having a lot of fun at the Fort.
Excellent. Well, let me throw out a 2-part question to you. 1, how do you find the companies that you invest in? And 2, how would entrepreneurs in the room that might be interested get in front of you? What's the best way to approach you guys?
So
reverse order this time.
I was a cyber guy for a while, a few cyber companies, and I just hacked Jen's email. And basically, just all that stuff comes over.
Glad someone's answering my emails.
So we actually saw, after we wrote a few checks, like 410 Labs, anyone know Matt Colt and Dave Troy in Baltimore? They have like 3 products. We did that deal and a West Coast deal or 2, and then another deal here, and we're like, where are all the investors? We're getting investors from the West Coast to syndicate deals with. So that's why we threw this event, Distilled Intelligence, which the tagline was to energize startups and investors, and we had like 500 people at CIT. CIT hosted us in October. So we distilled down hundreds of companies to have 55 that pitched that day, and then we now have 10 of those. 10 of those 55 are in the Fort. So we also go to a lot of events, and we syndicate deals through AngelList now, and with West Coast investors. We've done some deals with 500 startups where Min is also a mentor, and we're active investors, and a few other West Coast, like Band of Angels, and some New York folks. So we find deals in partnership with mentors, and we actually have gotten some folks just like harassing us and like stalking us, and eventually
Checking in on Foursquare and you'd be okay.
yeah, I'm really enjoying Foursquare. I look forward. I just downloaded an exercise. I can't wait to. That's like Foursquare for exercise, which I need to do. So I hope that answers your question. Like kind of everywhere. Like people can apply on our website, and we'll look at deals. But we prefer when they come through folks that we know, and that's kind of just typical.
yeah, I mean, I think exactly that, and I think the more we all work together, because I get to know his niche. There, every investor has a sweet spot, and so the more of us that get to know fellow investors, the better. And really, I'll tell you, we mostly rely on lawyers who have worked with you, and so this way, we go to them and say, hey, look, tell me about that person, that person, that person, and so the more you work with attorneys to get your ducks in order, then they're going to come to us and say, hey, look, these guys have their act together. So we really rely on those referrals. I mean, these events like this are great, and it's great meeting you, but guess who we're going to, at the end of the day, I'm going to say, hey, Dean, Carl, tell me about, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And that's really important for us.
So I'm just going to say, so I get tons and tons and tons and tons of executive summaries every month. It takes me probably about 3 months to reply back to them. But if Eric or Dean actually referred my last deal over to me, or Jonathan or Valerie sends me a deal, I'm going to respond immediately to that email. But if you're just emailing me, it's probably going to take me about 3 months to get to it. So go through them.
One thing, just real quick, I would mention, and Jen's very active also, and we need to tweet together. But Twitter, it's the best networking tool I've ever seen. Like, everybody uses it for different things, but if you follow investors on Twitter and they start to see what kind of stuff you're up to, as long as you're not crazy, like totally crazy, like, hey, I'm at this event, I met this person.
So somebody can be semi-crazy and you'll invest in
Yeah, like we tweet about being up late at
He's kinda
night,
crazy.
drinking, hacking. Semi-crazy is okay. Totally crazy, not cool. But like follow investors, follow angels, get to know them. Like the best relationships I've built, no offense, I love you guys, attorneys are great. No, they are. They're like nuclear weapons. We all know that. You need them, and they are awesome, and they can advise you. They can advise you in many ways, many ways. But use the hell out of Twitter and like follow each other and see what you're up to and get to know investors that way. That's something we've gotten a lot of use out of.
What he's really saying is next time he checks out on Foursquare, go there and find him.
But you guys also should go to these guys and ask them about us, because I'll tell you, we get our inbox filled with so many people that send us these plans. But if you say, hey, Valerie, you know what? I know your group has invested in this, and this is your sweet spot. You can tell me a little about me and why I would like your business. I'm much more impressed. And that will get to the top of the pile because you're actually, strategically selecting my group, over that group or with that group, or saying, hey, look, I know you do a lot of work with these guys. So you guys have to do that as well as we do.
Excellent point. Jonathan, before you go much further, I am from Jersey, so I just want to mention that.
Same here.
But I'm part Sicilian.
I'll leave it at that.
Hey, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I was very impressed that you guys did have Yingling out there. So
There you go.
I'd like to take credit for that.
Yermo.
Modev DC is the tech session organizer. Previously it was Bud Light, but I said there's no way. Yingling.
all
There you
right.
go. Let's hear it for Yermo. So all three of you guys, again, coming back this way, so maybe a quick war story. Talk about an entrepreneur pitch. What turned you off on a particular entrepreneur pitch, if you can think of one, like this was like just a complete faux pas. This is what tanked them, no matter how good their idea was, and maybe what turned you on and got you very excited about a particular entrepreneur's pitch. So these guys have an idea. And by the way, I want to mention to everyone that Valerie, a lot of you guys out there know, she was one of the original investors in AppMobi. So has done that kind of work. So go ahead, Jen.
So like anyone who has a lot of passion about what they do, know your market, know what you're talking about. I'll spend a lot of time with companies helping them figure out their pitch. And I usually spend a Saturday or Sunday a couple times a month, and I'll just sit in a coffee shop all day, and companies will come through and we'll figure it out.
Do you tweet about that?
I do, yeah.
Foursquare too?
I do, yeah, I do Foursquare.
Find her.
It's something that was really bad. Some people just come in with some really crazy business ideas, and sometimes people come in and we had this one guy come in and he basically spent 25 minutes talking about how 8 or 10 different companies stole his ideas and were running with them, and you're just sitting there, Google stole this from me, whoever, whatever. And, and then the last investor he pitched to also stole the idea, and so I'm sitting here, crap, he's going to be saying I stole his idea next.
Did you steal his idea?
I did.
Boy, I'll tell you, the turn on and turn offs with companies, wow. I think flexibility is the key. And when you talk to a company, we're getting to know you, particularly at this really early stage when you're investing in companies that don't quite have, revenue or products and things like that. So, I need to get to know you. So when I start having a conversation that you might think is irrelevant, have patience with that, because I'm trying to figure out who you are. AppMobi is probably a really great example of that, is that I invested in the guys who put AppMobi together. I invested in actually 2004 when it was slightly something else. But that's because I had faith in these guys that they were going to be able to adapt to the marketplace. And they did. They changed and moved. Now, some of my fellow investors, some of the angel investors who are fairly new, they said, oh, well, they've become something else. And I said, yeah, that's why I invested in them, because I knew that they were going to be able to say, we're not going to get stuck on this. We need to do a pivot and come over here. So investing in a company, or the developers, the managers, the CEO, et cetera, who is adaptable is really important.
I totally agree with that. We had one of our first companies that pitched us when we first started, and we were like, I think we were called VC Dojo. We weren't Fortify yet. An attorney named us, by the way. Jeff Laird named us. He's like, remember that deal? HP bought Fortify, and you had sold Secure Software to Fortify, and you got screwed, and you didn't make any money, and you should have. I was like, yes. He's like, that's what you should name the fund. I was like, sweet. The founders fought in front of us. Like, they totally, like, I thought they were,
Yeah.
like, one was like enterprise, the other one's like consumer. I told you, and like, I was like, it was insane. We're looking at each other, and we're like, did we actually come here tonight and buy pizza for these guys? Like, it was crazy. So that's something, like, you really need to get your shit straight and, like, know who's talking on what slide and when, and who has the authority to interrupt or whatever. So I'll say something that is not kosher to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Recruiting sites, like I did recruiting back in at UUNet, and loved, like, it's my porn. Like, I love recruiting. Like, I don't watch football, really, except tech football. Like, I don't care, but like recruiting stuff. Anyone doing a recruiting app? Yeah? I want to check it out. Because, like, that's what, I mean, everybody needs people. Like, who in here is looking for a developer? Come on. Co-founders, developers, investors. You recruit us too, come on. You guys are full of shit.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I think it's...
Don't remember when they say that we don't need any money.
That's right. Well, look, I have one piece of advice. Don't take investors' money unless you really need it. And if you need it, when they offer it, take the effing money. Like, take it. Just take it, because stuff dries up, and then you'll be like, shit. I wish we took, it happened to me like 10 years ago. I was like, oh man, they offered us like $6 million, and it was total screw up. You got to take the money when it's offered. I mean, if the terms are okay, and these guys will tell you if the terms are
Talk to
okay.
us about that first.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, just take it.
Just pay them up front.
Take it. You don't need Dean, Carl.
Got some audience questions. I mean, yours are great, but I don't know.
Why don't we do that? We've only got a few minutes left, so
On this panel.
I'm sorry. I just, what's the best part about your jobs? Like, what do you love about your jobs?
Oh man, I love you guys. I mean, like, honestly, I tell someone I don't smoke weed. I just like look at business plans and like be around really high psyched individuals, and it's like
don't
absolutely
inhale?
energizing.
I have a clearance, so I don't smoke weed yet. But my clearance will expire at some point, or I'll just rescind it. No, I'm addicted to it. Totally addicted to it. Like, I jump out of bed, excited to go to the fort. I'm serious. Like, a day will fly by, it's like 7 p.m., and we're like, whoa. I love it. Like, everybody on our team loves it. So,
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you get to see 5 new people probably every day and 5 new companies.
oh,
and play with
bullshit.
them.
You like to yell at founders. Come on, tell them.
I don't yell at founders. Jonathan yells at
No,
founders.
no, Jen's great. She's great. We're good friends. I'm kidding.
I love when you guys though include us as part of, like, look, here's what I want to solve this problem. Don't hide that stuff from us, because we're here to, we love problem solving. In fact, I have dreams at night. I solve problems in my dreams, So, use the investors not just for money. In fact, actually, 9 times out of 10, it's not just the money that is going to help you. It's all of their connections, and it's the strategic advice that we can give you, having done it or having screwed up in our own businesses in the past. We can literally just say, we've been there, so be honest with us.
Don't lie to investors, because you will get screwed. Like,
We're going to find out eventually.
we always do. Like, we were about to fund a company recently, and I was like, "So you guys own all the IP, send us all the due diligence stuff." Yep, we own everything. Nope. We own a license to own the IP. I was like, "Well, that's awesome. You guys need to go find another term sheet."
Oh, and we do
'Cause-
background checks. So please, 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 if you robbed a bank or whatever, and that's come up,
It happened with her.
just tell me about it. I don't want to ask for your social security number and your birth date, and you're like, yeah, nothing's happened, and then it comes back and you robbed a bank or whatever. Just tell me. We probably could work through it, but not, but not if you lied about it until the very last second, because we're obviously not putting money in it.
So Bernie Madoff comes to you with an idea.
Hey, I want to ask the guy I know has a great lawyer right here, Steve. Go ahead.
Right, thanks, Carl. But actually, I'm a fan of Shark Tank, and one of the things I noticed, and this is touching what Valerie just said, is that what a lot of those guys get more than the money is the expertise. And I was just wondering, what else do you get besides the money?
Well, I would tell you that the money is not, like Valerie said, it's not it. Like, first of all, we've invested in companies, and when we've invested in them, other investors will come. So we syndicate deals together, because there's a super herd mentality with investors. You guys have seen it forever. It's just the truth. So the first thing you get is get one investor that has some clout or stature, or just has done some good deals, and you'll get others. But if you have the right investors, like if you hate them, like you get sick to your stomach pulling up to their office, don't take their money, because you are going, it's like a marriage. Divorce sucks, right? So like so I think the key thing is ask them what other companies they've worked with, and then you can find that information, and then talk to those people and be like, what's it like working with them? Like, we do due diligence and background on you, do the same thing on us. And you'll find out investors are full of shit, because a lot of investors are full of it.
And the exact opposite is true, is that, you make sure that because there are some people that I would actually tell you, do not take a dime from them.
Yes.
Yep. And because, so what happens is when you go to find your second round or another, some more money after that person's been locked in, and I'll be like, I am not investing with that person. And so we look at that as well. So you want to invest with people who like each other.
That may be one of the best pieces of advice that you guys can walk away with is do due diligence on the investment funds that you're thinking of, or the angels you're thinking of taking money on. You can Google, do a Google search on them, find out they're for real, talk to lawyers like Carl and me. We can give you a set of questions and help you evaluate it, because there's such a term as smart money. And there's a lot of dumb money out there, and just because you take money, you could find out that person could be, or that fund could be the biggest impediment to your growth, far worse than bootstrapping. So you want to make sure that you're getting somebody who's smart, knows your industry, can be additive, who's going to be value add as well as the money.
Hey, Jonathan, what did your last name used to be?
That's a witness relocation program secret.
All right, let's take we probably have time for
Couple more questions.
2 more questions. Yeah.
How long was the time as a developer should I expect from initial contact with you to the point where you actually be funding? What's the normal length of time for that?
So we're as quick as 30 days.
Was a 3-month email?
That's 30
Busted.
days after you go through the 6 months.
Well, if you came through Eric, we'd be having coffee the next day. But I would say as quick as 30 days. If you're trying to raise, $1 million round, and we're doing 200,000 of it, it's going to take as long as it takes us to find other angels to go in. But I would say probably average is 3 months.
Yeah, I agree. Talk to Kevin from Vino. He raised $500,000. It took, 3 months?
months.
Yeah, he rocked it. He's really good looking and tall, and you know. It's mostly women's money, right? Elderly women? Is that where you got the money? Just kidding, dude.
I have like two questions actually. So,
Two parts.
I mean, how do you react to this advertisement-based business and there's other forms that it's like free for some and then there's this premium-based form that's made like, do you guys like those kind of business models? Second question is, how do you evaluate the company as in like, is it worth a million versus $500,000 versus nothing?
Valuation is the second part.
Valuations are, I mean, it depends. Market here, unfortunately, is a little lower than California, but, you know, it's really comes down to who is your investor, what value do they add, do you want to sell? I mean, don't sell half your company in the first round, especially to an investor you don't trust. Like, you shouldn't take the money anyway, but we like something that solves a problem. We like disruption. So like if something is disruptive, like Uber, right? Something that's just, wow. They don't own any cars, they don't have to insure them, and they make a ton of money because people want to be cool and pull up in town cars. Like, that's the cool thing. If you have an advertising-based model, we're not interested. Unless it's recruiting. No, I'm kidding. Like, we're not interested in that. Freemium models and the business model you go after, if you're solving this great problem, and we can see you know your business and it's going to go like this, the business model will tweak over time, like was already mentioned. So to us, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing, team, product, and you better know your market. It better be huge or growing to be huge. And we like some defendable position, like whether it's intellectual property or you're first to market, or everyone else has been acquired in your space for like way too much money, and you're the only one left. Like, we like that kind of thing.
There is an interesting thing that Jonathan just said when he named, you know, team, you know, and product. One of the things that's interesting is we had the later stage VCs on this panel. They would be saying revenue. So that's why, you know, the panel that's up here is more of a risk taker, more willing to work with. I mean, I'm sure you love
Seed
revenue.
and early. Seed and early stage,
and they're looking for the next great disruptive idea, like Jonathan just said, and they're looking for that. They put that early seed money in to get a reward for that risk, but they understand it's a higher risk. But again, I think you know, Jonathan, you would agree, and Valerie, a Novak Biddle or a NEA is going to be thinking revenue. They want to see traction before they'll write the big check.
Yeah.
These are the guys you talk to who then help you advance to that stage.
But I think, you know, for us, that we really like to help you build that management team as well. So if you tell us what you're missing, we typically like to, in order to reduce our risk, put people in who we know, who we've invested in before. Like I said, at Moby, I invested in one of the companies that one of the guys involved is with, and he actually, in fact, he had actually started Turtle Beach Systems. So he's been there, done that. Another company, and then allowing us to help you build the management team. We'll build it with you, but you know, a company we had invested in, a company called Fingerworks, which was the touchpad technology that was eventually sold to Apple to make the pictures big and smaller, and you know, all those finger movements. But it was just a developer. He was doing a study on repetitive motion disorder out of University of Delaware. Well, what he did was he allowed us to come in, one of our key investors who had left Hewlett-Packard, he put in the first $100,000 into this company. We raised less than $850 for the company, and then he turned around with his connections, sold it to Apple. Some people complain that they sold to Apple too soon, but you know what? There was somebody else developing that technology, and so you guys have to know when to let go, but that goes doing your homework on us to say, hey, look, are these guys just ditching me because they want to move on to something else, or do they really truly know something about the market that says, look, we better cut and run?
Cool. Great. Let's hear it
For our angel panel.